And then Osadoler and this front line of Hitchcock and Camden is going to be so important. That's going to be that consistent threat that Dale Parker had mentioned this week, was they need to be able to show that they can not only keep possession.
Looks like we got the okay. And we're underway. Appalachian FC 1 Knoxville, U.S. Open Cup.
A lot of time this morning on him, and he almost said a bit more time than he would have liked, but he knows how important they're going to be and how they can come to define games.
Well, we could be gearing up for a defensive battle tonight, because this is as we mentioned, FC team that's going to sit back a little bit, according to Parker. And then this is also a Knoxville team that allowed the least amount of goals in USL League One last year. Their identity is defense first, so they allowed just 16 goals over the course of the entire season, but they only scored 23 goals in 2024. Now, under a new head coach in Ian Fuller, but I think that identity's still there with Knoxville. Martin. Johnson plays it long, broken up by the captain in Kelman on the other side. The center back out of Barbados for Appalachian FC. Played to the wing, looking for a cross into the 18. Knoxville going for it, it's blocked down. Rodriguez. Now the keeper denies there for App FC.
And good save from Rodriguez early on, tight angle. But those are going to be the moments that are going to creep themselves consistently into this match. Is One Knox is going to have the availability to get into those half spaces, but now it's about defensively securing your 1v1 matchups, and you could see One Knox getting the shot off there and now getting an early corner.
Well, Martin saunters over and gets ready for this corner kick. Not even 5 minutes in. Have some pushing and shoving there, so that one's blown dead, but unfortunately he had already taken that, so know where it's going. Oh, the intensity of these cup games are always at the highest. Into the box and headed away. That one's wide for Knoxville.
And as you mentioned before, the first attempt had already been delivered, so they elect to go short, and it does look like they win that match. One Knox is, for App FC, a clear understanding of that you're not always going to win those first and second actions defensively, but it's about being...
Played through the middle and just poked away in the nick of time by Fernandez as Bailey was pushing forward for App FC.
Gary Bay makes a good play there, making sure that they don't concede the corner. Dale Parker felt good about their ability to keep One Knox honest in terms of the work that front three and that central forward could do. And then he had mentioned that they had the ability to implement some long throws through training.
This is Rowe on the throw. Into the 18, rising for a header, just barely out. Played wide now for Appalachian FC. Looking to square, nice little combination. Cross in, broken up, there's a shot and it's high. Had a tough performance in the conference final. Into the area, the header, skies over the crossbar. It was Montoya rising for it.
You can see this sequence that sees One Knox pick up 2 yellow cards.
Yeah, just out of control on the tackle. Then Rosamila, who you could see behind the play, would eventually argue, hence the second yellow. Now we're not even 15 minutes into this match. No score yet, Appalachian FC and 1 Knoxville. Well, Rodriguez gives that chase, but rolls out of play, and it will be a corner kick for Knoxville.
Right now, App FC is doing a tremendous job of winning the battle of making first contact on both attacking and defensive set pieces. That has to stay a part of their game if they look to advance.
Marian delivers towards the back post, header down, across, shot, bounces home. Knoxville leads. It's Santos. The 18-year-old finds the back of the net amidst the chaos. And the visitor. But as I was saying, this is not a Knoxville team that has had a bunch of great shots in this game. Their XG right now is .21. And they have just 2 shots on target, 3 shots total. But all it takes is that one good set piece to get you through if you can hang on here.
And the stat that I always like to look at is final third entries, because it does kind of paint the picture of the moments that you choose to go forward. And right now, both teams with 23 final third entries, so equal in that measure. Obviously, one Knoxville has had the greater of the possession, but that's something that I think both teams and everybody around expected.
In that far corner, off the service, Rosamilia heads it high, and leaping forward is the keeper in Rodriguez. Rosamilia is a new signing out of Rutgers for one Knoxville. Some physicality there. Osadolor gets whistled for the shove. Well, it's getting dark here in High Country as we trend towards the second half. Bailey. Well, that one hit off a defender, and here comes Appalachian FC. Tricker. Service, Rose there, header, and just can't totally connect on that one. Appalachian FC.
And I know App FC still does not have a registered shot on goal, but test the goalkeeper. And it goes back to what we were discussing a bit earlier in this half, was the final action is going to be something that Dale Parker's side are going to want to talk about, is how do you execute? You're getting yourself in good spots. They've been steady and responsible in their duels on and off the ball. And for one Knoxville,
the start of the second half, the U.S. Open Cup. And Eric Dobransky, Morris Sheridan.
The changes have been made now. How do you impact this next 45 minutes? And how do you push to find that second goal and create a bit more room? And we knew we were going to see squad rotation from Ian Fuller and his side with the early season kind of schedule congestion. And I know it's early, but a lot of travel in there.
Oh, a couple of nice passes, just mistimed a little bit. It is a corner kick. I just nudged off of a Appalachian FC defender there in Tricker. So a corner kick is on the way for one Knoxville. With a whole bunch of fresh legs on the pitch.
And no Fernandez on the field anymore, so that was somebody that they would picked out on that far post. So who takes that role now?
Looking for goal number 2, Knoxville. Had it down by the defense, off the volley, and it's just high on the header above the crossbar.
The pace on this delivery, looking for the slightest of touches. You see the strike. Flex off a App FC defender.
Well, they've certainly added some height to that back line. Howley was the one.
Lexington's now gone up 2-0 in their Open Cup match. Goldthorpe with the goal.
A nice job defensively. Trying to catch the keeper off his line, off the post.
What recognition here along the touchline. Recognizing that the chaos. That would have been a goal, the goal of the first round.
Plays it in a space, now wide. Serves it up, Dien was the option. It's blocked by the defense. Diakite. Appalachian FC getting a little bit frustrated, I think. Trying to get it out of their own end. A pretty obvious foul. And a good spot for a set piece now for Knoxville.
Yeah, this is going to pose real danger for App FC. And there's that bravery, that entry ball. You're playing through 3 defenders in a narrow channel, but you get rewarded for it. Play through, play it with decisiveness, and now you earn your team the opportunity to get this ball up and over or around the wall, and then you have to beat Juan Rodriguez. This has got to have the pace, it's got to have the shape. In a situation like this, you want to make sure that regardless of whether you hit it as pure as you want to, you put it on frame and you make the goalkeeper make a save, and then you've got everybody else crashing and causing that traffic in front.
Looks like Kelman got a yellow card in the midst of that play. Here's a free kick, straight to goal. What a finish! Knoxville up 2-0. And what a strike from Dien. Babacar Dien stepped on the pitch here in the second half, and he gives Knoxville some cushion.
An absolute defensive stature, and that's going to be something that has already been on display, and Ian Fuller and his side are going to want to continue to execute at a high level on that side of the ball.
Camden slicing off his left foot, the cross. Man, a couple players there. Here's another chance. Montoya shoots and he's blocked down. It's Howley who denies. Vincent Montoya with a great opportunity for Appalachian FC.
And after all of that, how does App FC look on this corner? Well, Knoxville has done some significant damage in some of those emergency defensive moments.
Rowe off his right foot, quite a bit of air. Montoya heads it and grabbing it out of the air.
This is a prime example. Talk about some of the first and second waves of attacks, and one Knoxville has done a great job of squeezing space.
Martin this time overshoots it.
And you see it so much that team.
And Rowe is out. Harry Lovett comes in. Feels like that's a big loss for Appalachian FC just on those throw-ins alone. Well, he's also had a couple of good chances, and his left foot has been pretty lethal as well. Harry Rowe exit, and it's Harry Lovett who replaces him. There's a shot and it bounces to Gary Bay.
And this is another scenario that for Knoxville, these are going to be things that were discussed, and not at length in preseason because you're so early on in the season, but when you sprinkle in a U.S. Open Cup match, one-game elimination, and you're in the beginnings of a regular season, you're going to talk about how do you see games out? How do you see them off? If you're up a goal, down a goal, those game scenarios, as we see another yellow card for App FC.
A bunch of cards in succession here for Appalachian as maybe tired legs prevail. And a sense of urgency and all the pressure in the world to mount a massive comeback. You feel like you have to do it right now. Hence, I think some of these fouls.
You're 100% right. You think in that moment you need to be that hero to recoup possession and then go down the field. And you do tend to see those tackles that just get away from you timing-wise, and they're not with malicious intent. But to your point, they just have that urgency feeling to them. You know you're down 2 goals. You need to quickly spark some sort of comeback so that Knoxville feels some sort of pressure.
That card against Lovett, so it wasn't tired legs for him. He just stepped on the pitch. So Lovett, along with his 2 center backs with yellows, but there's a response, another one for Knoxville. 3 goals now. And they're flying high in high country. The nail in the coffin here for Appalachian FC, unless they can launch a massive comeback in the final 15-ish minutes of this game.
And credit to Ian Fuller and his group. They've just been professional in their approach. He talked about the intensity coming into this match. He knew, and his group knew, that App FC was going to be up for this game. They have the crowd, they have the community. They were going to assemble a collective group that was talented and quality, and they were going to be a proven test to Knoxville, but they have come in, they have been solid defensively.
Goaling, back post, too high.
But goals change games, and when you have the ability to execute at a high level on free kicks, as we see that opportunity, just defines the narrative, and it's made it difficult for App FC to get a foothold in this match on free kicks and set pieces.
Rosamilia. Goaling off the turn. Wide. Rosamilia dispossessed. Ripped away by Montoya.
A lot of the times that's when we see these cup sets, is when throughout the season discuss what this community means to him and his family, his wife, and the opportunity that it gives them to kind of live somewhere different for the summer and coach a different group. As we've mentioned, he's the men's coach at Lander.
Header! Just over the bar.
Between these 2 center backs, and we could just see him steady with his movement, working off that blind shoulder, just unable to put. Delivery was precise. The ability to operate in that area was exactly what App FC kind of play itself out, and Virginia Dream, what a response. 2 unanswered goals. Get that 3-1 cup set.
Well, there's a final whistle. A 3-0 victory for Knoxville over Appalachian FC.